Hello everybody. Hello YouTube. Hello art history enthusiasts and visual culture aficionados. It's me again, Miss M, and I'm back with yet another video. This time I'm going to be talking about something interesting. But before I get into what I'm going to get into, let me get all the church announcements out of the way. Here we are again at my homepage, The Object of Art. So that you know that you're in the right place. That's why I always start out here. And for those of you who are subscribed or newly subscribed, thank you. Thank you, returning viewers. I appreciate you a lot. For those of you who've never seen any of my videos before, welcome. Welcome, and thank you for seeing my video title or whatever and clicking, and maybe just out of curiosity. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you click around and look at some other videos and perhaps like, comment, subscribe, and or share the videos if you feel compelled to do so. So now that we got that out the way, what I want to talk about today is, well, I'll just start out here. Special shout out to this individual's YouTube channel and to this individual, Exorcist Reviews. I communicate with this person on IG, and they are a wealth of information about the movie. They know this movie inside out, forwards, backwards, sideways, you name it. So if you have any questions about even the most minute detail in the movie, this is the person to ask. I don't know if his DMs are open, but they really do. This person really does know a great deal about the movie, and especially lately, he's been making shorts. This one about the St. Joseph medal, the no return policy. Those caught my eye, and I found very interesting, especially this one, Exorcist, what does it read? Did Karis's mother die on Mother's Day? Or did Karis die on Mother's Day, sorry? Who owns the Ouija board? And what I'm going to talk about today kind of relates to this one, who owns the Ouija board. It's the scene near the beginning of the movie, before Regan kind of morphs into what she becomes later, and you're just sort of starting to get to know Chris and Regan and everybody else who lives in that house and the situation and so on and so forth. There is a scene in the movie that I want to discuss and what its possible implications might be. I've been promising you all an Exorcist video for so long, and here I am. I'm finally doing it, so let's hope it takes, as I like to say. Hopefully, hello, Pazuzu. Pazuzu is going to be with us for at least the duration of this video. Hopefully, Pazuzu approves. I can only hope. Anyway, this is the Exorcist Wiki, and this is Pazuzu's page. He's a Mesopotamian demon, as we see here. Eye colors, red or green, when possessed. And it gives you information about Pazuzu. And I'm going to leave this in the description if you want to look through it on your own. The mythology. Okay, listen. There's a couple things they get wrong here. I'm not going to get into it because it's not really important for this video, for what I want to discuss, but this made me a little annoyed. They get a little bit of stuff wrong here about him being, yes, he is evil, right? And yes, in the film, it says right here, in that part of the film where Father Marin is talking with that other guy in the room, and there's, I think the guy says something that is not in English. It says, in the film, when the Iraqi museum curator sees Marin looking at the amulet. And what amulet are they talking about, for goodness sake? Are they talking, I need to watch the movie again. Exorcist Reviews, if you know what they're talking about here, let me know in the comments. Is it the St. Joseph amulet that you mention in this video here? What did he say, this video? I can't think of any other amulet, but again, I haven't watched the movie in a little while, but the Iraqi museum curator sees Marin looking at the amulet. He says evil against evil. So that's Pazuzu's power. Like, you fight fire with fire. So Pazuzu doesn't fight evil in a nice way. He fights evil with more evil. So, yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? But anyway, there's another, I think this is another wiki. It's a villain's wiki. It's Pazuzu as a villain, which I have a problem with. I don't think of him as a villain, but yeah, he has a salty mouth, but I don't know. And the problem is with these also that they're about like every incarnation of The Exorcist, whether it's the sequel or the TV show or whatever. It doesn't just concentrate on the first original movie, which is what I'm concentrating on. I'm not talking about the sequel. I'm not talking about where does he appear? Does it say here? Oh, yeah, here it is. No. Exorcist the Beginning, Dominion, the TV series. No, I'm not talking about any of those. I'm just talking about the movie, The Exorcist from 1970 something, whatever. So, I pulled this up because I wanted to see pictures of Pazuzu. And Pazuzu looks terrifying. And this picture especially, when I saw it, it caught my eye, and I said, what the hell is this? Why is Pazuzu missing his downstairs area? Because, Pazuzu is supposed to be, oh no, not there yet. But Pazuzu is, his phallus is supposed to be quite prominent. What happened? Why'd they do this? That's not okay. But anyway, let's keep it moving. This is kind of I'm going to put a link to this as well in the description. The Exorcist, this clip that they have, it's movie clips. Captain Howdy and the Ouija board. Now again, Exorcist Reviews discusses this Ouija board. Whose is it? Exorcist Reviews clears up the mystery in it. The Ouija board belongs to Chris, Regan's mother. Okay, so that should tell you something. That should tell, and Regan looks Chris looks quite worried when she sees the Ouija board outside of a place where she stored it in the basement. So anyway, and what is my theme today? What am I talking about with regard to the movie today? I'm talking about, or I would like to talk about or explore the topic or the idea of Regan as Shaman or Conjurer. Okay, I believe that Regan is the one who summons Pazuzu. She conjures that deity. And she does it probably in a couple of different ways. One way is this Ouija board. And the person or the entity or whatever she's communicating with by use of the Ouija board is somebody that she calls Captain Howdy. Captain Howdy. And, there's like speculation. Is this, I guess it's Pazuzu, but she calls him Captain Howdy. Does she call him Captain Howdy because her absentee father's name is Howard, and she's missing a father figure in her life, kind of like her parallel, Father Karras, whose father is dead. And also I mentioned the St. Joseph medal. St. Joseph is, and Exorcist Reviews talks about the St. Joseph medal as well. St. Joseph is the patron saint of fathers. Okay, let me just enlarge this so you get a better view of it, of the basement. And this basement's underground, subterranean spaces are extremely important in this movie because, again, Pazuzu is a Mesopotamian deity, and their belief was that when you die, you go underground. You go into the underworld, where Ereshkigal presides over everything. But, and that's where she conjures Pazuzu, in this basement, with this Ouija board. That makes perfect sense if we're dealing with the deity that is from that area culturally and historically. Makes perfect sense. But I want to talk about, let me see if I have a picture here. This website is, I think you get to read the chapters, or at least the first 2 chapters, or highlights of the first 2 chapters of the novel. I have not read the novel, and I don't know if I ever will, but Exorcist Reviews has obviously, and in a very detailed way, read the novel. So again, ask him if you have any questions about anything, or look at his videos. They're chock full of information. But I'm talking about this, and this is why I was looking for pictures of Pazuzu, because this bird creature that Regan constructs in the basement, her playroom, her art room, whatever it is in the basement, she does this bird, and the bird looks an awful lot like Pazuzu, at least the form of it. And it has a long beak, and this beak on this bird-like creature is very reminiscent of the parts that are added to the Virgin Mary statue a little later on. And the movie, again, doesn't explicitly state it, but, it was probably Regan that vandalized that statue. It's not much of a leap. And so this is another way. It's not just the Ouija board. It's also art. Regan uses art in order to conjure or summon Pazuzu. That is what I believe. That's what I believe. And, when you look, again, I study ancient art. I study ancient cultures. I study ancient religions. And there's always this question that has no answer, because those people are long gone that were alive way back when in Mesopotamia or Egypt or, wherever. We can't ask them, why did you do these images? Why did you make these statues? Why did you paint these pictures? Why did you build these buildings? Why did you have the beliefs that you had? That's open for all intents and purposes. All of those questions are open to speculation. That's why you get shows like Ancient Aliens, where more or less anything goes. Maybe some of those researchers or people or whoever, whatever they are on that show, maybe they get some stuff right just because they're using their imagination. Maybe, a lot of those people, I'm just going to be honest about how I feel. I think a lot of those people on the Ancient Aliens show are just flat out charlatans and liars and con artists. However, that doesn't mean that they don't get some stuff right every now and again. A lot of them are plagiarizing material that comes from other researchers or obscure researchers. What do they say? Even a broken clock is right twice a day. So, that's how I feel about that. But we can't ask those people who were alive at the time. For example, in this case, Mesopotamia. We can't ask them, why did you make those statues? Why did you make those figurines? Why did you bury people the way you buried people? No, they're not around. But this scene with her bird in her playroom, coupled with the Ouija board, they're presenting a very interesting idea. Maybe art was made by the ancient people, such as those who were living in Mesopotamia during those times, in order to communicate with these spirits and deities that they believed in. Maybe these objects, art objects, we think of them as art now. Maybe those people didn't think of them as art at all. They maybe didn't think of them as aesthetically pleasing in any way, shape, or form. Maybe they made these items because these items were utilitarian, and they had a job. They intended to do a job with these items. Like I said, statues, figurines, paintings, etc. And maybe that's what Regan is doing here. She summoned Pazuzu. Did she try to? I don't know. Was it deliberate? I don't know. Was it an accident? I don't know. Or maybe it's kind of like a CB radio, where people, young people don't know what that is. But back in the day, people had these radios and they would just communicate with whoever, like truckers or people like that. And you didn't know who you were talking to. You had no idea. And maybe that's kind of what happened with Regan and this situation. And maybe Regan is in a very difficult situation, emotionally, physically. Maybe she's being abused, as I've mentioned before. And, maybe she wasn't looking for Pazuzu, but maybe Pazuzu found her. And, she opened the channel of communication, both by using the Ouija board and by creating her art. Where did she get the inspiration for it to look like this? Like I said, Pazuzu. Here's another image with the downstairs area intact, and he doesn't have just one, he has like two, I think. And like one of them is basically a snake. This is terrifying. But, Regan is using art as a way to express herself. Again, maybe she's in a difficult situation where she doesn't have a lot of freedom. Maybe she can't express herself to her mother or anybody else. No telling what's going on. And she's using art as a means of expression or catharsis or whatever. And Pazuzu found her and said, oh, okay, this little girl is in trouble. And Pazuzu said, you know what? I'm going to help, because that's what I do. I help children. I protect children. That's what Pazuzu said. I don't know. But I want to also draw your attention to this. Okay, I don't know how long this video is going to be, but I'm going to say what I have to say, and then I'm going to be done, I guess. This article from the Met Museum's website, Pazuzu, Beyond Good and Evil. This is an interesting read. I'm going to leave it in the description for you to read. Check it out. Left. This is on the left. This is a bronze statuette of the demon Pazuzu, Mesopotamia, 8th to 7th century BC, and this is in the Louvre in Paris, in the Department of Oriental Antiquities, I suppose. Oriental because it's the Near East, right? And right, I don't know what this is. Is this like, I don't think this is a real statue, but it's, it's modeled on this one on the left. So Pazuzu has wings. He looks very bird-like. Okay? And please, again, read through this. And it mentions the movie, of course it does. And it mentions this sun. This sun is so important in ways that I don't know if I can explain to you yet. What I'm suspecting. I don't know. I can't know. I'm speculating. But the fact that they show this sun in the beginning of the movie is, to me, a symbol of something. And it oddly, I wasn't planning on talking about this in this video, but this sun relates to something that I'll be talking about in a little while in this video. So interesting that they put it here. From 1973 film The Exorcist. I always forget what year it is, or what year it was made or released. Anyway, and they show Father Merrin in his kind of stare down with Pazuzu. All right. There's an uneasy expression on the face of the archaeologist priest as he gazes at it. Had it existed, the statue would have probably seemed archaic to the Parthians, a survival from an earlier period whose identity and meaning may even have been forgotten, as they are in the movie itself. Oh dear. The camera lingers on the backlit statue as the noise of a nearby pack of dogs fighting provides an atmospheric soundtrack for the demon statue's canine snarl. The scene has been set. Pazuzu appears as a foreign, ancient, violently malevolent source of evil power. But what basis, if any, does this have in what we actually know about him? So, if that doesn't tempt you to read this article, I don't know what will. So, Lamashtu is also another deity or demon or whatever that is meant to protect. I think, is it Lamashtu? Oh, yeah, no, Lamashtu eats children. Okay, so Pazuzu is, that's Pazuzu's arch enemy. Lamashtu, a female demon, mind you. A female Was William Peter Blatty aware of this when he wrote his novel, which turned into the movie, that he was very strongly connected to, this first original movie? I don't know. I know he was a very smart man and a very educated man. Maybe he was quite interested in this kind of stuff, and that's how it made it into his novel. But anyway, go ahead and read the rest of this, and let me get on, like anybody's stopping me. But I'm going to get on to what I really want to talk about. Now, I talked about this, Pazuzu, and this is, Pazuzu and Regan as the, where is she? Regan as the, let me enlarge this so you can get a real good look at it. Regan, down in the playroom, like I said, the underworld. Regan as the shaman, or a conjurer, or sorceress, or whatever. And I'm going to get to here. This, I think I'll put this in the description as well. This man came along on this beautiful gray horse. And again, this is in the beginning of the movie, before we know that anything is wrong. Or before we really, really realize that something is wrong in this household and with Regan and whatever. And I'm not going to play this because, again, I'm not about to get another copyright strike. But you can look at it on your own. This is the dialogue from that very short scene. Chris comes home and she asks Regan about her day, and Sharon tells her that she's got an invitation to a dinner at the White House. And Chris says, oh, is it a big party? And Sharon said, no, it's just 5 or 6 people. So Chris is a really important person. Okay, in ways that are not articulated or explained in the movie. If you're having a private dinner, 5 or 6 people at the White House, that you're a seriously famous person, and you're a seriously influential person. But anyway, hi, Mom. And Chris says, what did you do today? Stuff. Chris says, what's that mean, stuff? And then Regan says, well, me and Sharon played a game in the backyard. And Chris says, you did? And they don't say what game they were playing. I would love to know what game, but whatever. And then Regan says, and we had a picnic down by the river. Okay. Chris says, that sounds good. And then Regan says, Mom, you should have seen. This man came along on this beautiful gray horse. And Chris says, really? What kind? And I guess Regan says to Sharon, wasn't he pretty? And Chris asks, was it a mare, a gelding, what? And Regan says, I think it was a gelding. And she continues, it was gray. Oh, it was so beautiful. The guy let me ride it all around and everything. You're kidding. And I guess Sharon says she rode for half an hour. Listen. Regan saw a gray horse, and the man who I guess the horse belonged to let Regan ride around on this gray horse. And it was a beautiful horse, and Regan, and then she asks her mother, it doesn't say here, but in the movie, then she goes on to ask her mother, oh, can we get a horse? Please. And Chris says, no, not until we get back to California. And, okay, so, rich people problems. Horses are expensive. They always have been. So what's the first thing that I thought of when I saw and heard this in the movie? Well, where are we here? Yeah, trusty old Wikipedia. The 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Okay. 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And you might be saying, what? Yeah, no, well, this movie obviously has to do with religion. Both ancient religions and, I guess, modern ones like Christianity. Christianity is based on a belief in Christ and also of the Bible. And the Bible mentions these different horses that are supposed to bring about or they're supposed to be, I don't know if they bring the apocalypse or they're just symbolic of it, but Revelation and Apocalypse, written by John of Patmos. He's an interesting figure if you research him. White horse. No, Regan didn't say white horse. Red horse? No, Regan didn't say red horse. Black horse. No, Regan didn't say black horse. And you can look at this. I'll leave the description. I'll leave the website in the description, the link, so you can read through this as much as you like. Regan said gray horse, also known as the pale horse. Okay? Let me read this little bit to you. Excuse me. I should probably take a sip of coffee, but I'm too busy. When the Lamb broke the fourth seal, the Lamb, y'all. When the Lamb broke the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth living creature saying, "Come." I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and he who sat on it had the name Death, and Hades was following with him. Authority was given to them over a fourth of the earth, to kill with sword and with famine and with pestilence, and by the wild beasts of the earth. Okay, this is difficult to interpret. When you read through this, because it's biblical language and what have you, you're like, is this a bad thing? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. The fourth and final horseman is called Death. And before you say, no, it says pale horse, not gray horse. Okay, let me show you. Different versions of there are so many different versions of the Bible, it would make your head spin. Kind of like Regan's does in the movie. But anyway, let me go on. Revelation, chapter 6, verse 8. And I saw a gray horse, and the name of him who was seated on it was Death. So Death is the horseman who rides the gray horse. Is that Regan? She rode the gray horse, the man let her ride it. Or was the man Death? I don't know. And hell came after him. They call it Hades in this passage here. Okay? And there was given to them authority over the fourth part of the earth, to put to destruction by the sword, and by taking away their food, and by death, and by the beasts of the earth. Okay, so what does this have to do? It has to do with destroying an empire, according to Wikipedia. Now, I don't know where they get this, I didn't have time to check. But apparently, the black horse represents imperial oppression, and the gray horse represents the destruction of that imperial oppression and or the empire. What empire are they talking about? The Roman Empire. The Roman Empire. And the Roman Empire, like, why would the author of Revelation and, other parts of the New Testament, like the Gospels or the Book of Acts or, whoever, whatever, why would they have something against the Romans? Because they were persecuted by them. That's the simple answer. The deeper answer might be a little bit more involved, but I'll just leave it at that for now. All right. So, is this movie, my God, does it have to do with the destruction of an empire? Remember I said the sun is important. What does the sun symbolize? In some contexts, royalty. In ancient Egypt, the sun symbolized royalty. The sun was the god Ra. Okay, that was a royal deity. Okay, I'll get into it. I really need to do my Egypt video. I'm especially inspired to do. I guess YouTube lectures about ancient Egyptian art. Now, not that I'm talking about this, but like I said, they show this sun for a reason. And not just the sun, but look, the sun is this big yellow orb, and then behind it, look at all this red. Red. Red is the color of blood, and or of bloodshed. This is a serious movie in ways that we haven't yet figured out. In ways that we haven't yet figured out. And like I said, Regan, they mentioned this gray horse for a reason. They could have mentioned any other animal. Regan could have said to her mother, "Oh, I saw the cutest dog. It looked just like Lassie." Or a golden retriever, or what. No. They could have said, "We saw some adorable ducks." They could have said, "We saw a bunch of animals." They could have said, "We went to the zoo and we saw lions and giraffes and what." No, they said a horse. And not just a horse, but a gray horse. And AKA the pale horse of the friggin' apocalypse. Listen, I could be wrong. But like I said also earlier, down in the playroom, Regan conjures this Pazuzu by creating art that looks very strikingly like him, and by using this, problematic Ouija board, right? The one that Chris seems to be afraid of, according to Exorcist Reviews. Where is the channel? Yes. And again, people just assume, or maybe they don't assume, maybe they know a lot more than I do, but they think that Captain Howdy, who is conjured by Regan, or that's the person she thinks, or the deity or entity or whatever, spirit, that she thinks she's communicating with, they think it's named Captain Howdy because her father is absent and her father's name is Howard. Listen, have people never heard of Howdy Doody? I don't know, maybe somebody's already covered this or talked about it or written about it. But Howdy Doody was this very popular cartoon, and people would have been aware of it in 1972. So Howdy Doody was still on the national radar around the time when this movie was made, and Regan's only about 12 years old in the movie, so she would have been aware of Howdy Doody. It never says here what Howdy Doody is the puppet, not the puppet master. It's the puppet. Buffalo Bob is the man's name. Howdy Doody is the puppet's name, and Howdy Doody. I don't know if you agree with me, but Howdy Doody looks an awful lot like some kind of cowboy, or somebody who lives out west and has, in the Western frontier themes, right, of this show. And Western frontier themes have to do with horses. So maybe in order to... Well, look at it this way. Pazuzu makes himself terrifying to adults, or people who he believes are trying to hurt the child or whatever. But he probably presents himself in a more pleasing form to the child itself, such as Regan. Maybe Pazuzu presented himself in the form of Howdy Doody, or Captain Howdy, as she calls him. That sounds like a darling little name, Captain Howdy. That sounds adorable. Because Pazuzu is trying to get close to Regan so he can protect her. And again, Howdy Doody seems to be a cowboy or horseman. And again, let's go back here. Destroying an empire, the pale horse. And yeah, there are connections with the famous, late conspiracy theorist, Bill Cooper. And you can look that up if you want to. I'm not going to get into it. I know about it, but I'm not going to get into it. And he named one of his books something like that, Behold a Pale Horse or whatever. And it's about the destruction of empires. Now, again, William Peter Blatty was a very educated man. And not only was he a very educated man, he was educated by the Jesuits. There are so many conspiracy theories about the Jesuits. And a lot of them are very unfavorable. I'm not going to get into it because that's not what I'm doing here. But also, you know, in the movie, Father Marin is a Jesuit. Father Karras is a Jesuit. We see many Jesuits. There's a Jesuit at Chris's party, playing the piano and having a grand old time. You know, something's up. Something's up. Is this movie not just about a demon possessing a child? Is it also about this, what I said, the destruction of empires and this sun that we see in the beginning of the movie when Father Marin is still in Iraq? Is this symbolic of the empire that's going to be destroyed by entities or deities like Pazuzu? I don't know. I don't know. But I'm speculating out loud. Hopefully this video took. But, you guys, people, good people, let me find a good picture to end my video on. And this is a definitely very good read for people who are interested in this and who want to know more about this. This might just be my thumbnail. This sun. I think I'll leave it right here for you. So anyway, again, I'll reiterate. Returning viewers, thank you for coming back. New viewers, thank you for being curious enough to click on the link. If you like what you saw, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video if you know somebody who would enjoy this material. Tell your friends. If you didn't like the video, hit the dislike button. Go ahead and do it. And also let me know what I did wrong in the comments. I'm waiting. I'm ready. Don't worry. I can handle criticism. But other than that, other than thanking you and letting you know how much I appreciate you, and after saying everything I've said in this video, I think I'm pretty much talked out. Exorcist reviews, if you have anything to add, I welcome it. Again, you're a wealth of information regarding this, and, sort of exchanging ideas with you has been a great deal of fun for me. And that's that. Like I said, I've got all kinds of stuff cooking for videos. I'm going to talk about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Erica Jane / Girardi, and Tom Girardi, who also happens to be a very heavily Jesuit-educated individual himself. Yeah, I'm going to get into it. Talking about The Shining, I'm going to do another Shining video. Going to do some more art crime videos. Probably Anna Delvey, but I have to research her a little bit before I get going. And so on and so forth. And you guys, once again, thank you. This isn't going to be a long video, which is a surprise to me more than anybody else. But once again, thank you. And until next time, until I find yet another reason to talk at you in one of these videos, I will go ahead and bid you bye-bye. So, bye-bye, everybody.